In the late 1980s, hot hatches flexed big engines and extra weight until Suzuki's Swift GTi appeared, packing just 1.3 liters and 100 horsepower. On paper, it looked outgunned, yet its high-revving G13B engine became a cult legend, schooling rivals twice its size. Why did this underdog redefine what speed feels like, and what did Suzuki risk challenging the rules? This is the rev-hungry soul that changed everything. Europe's hot hatch arms race in the 1980s produced some heavy hitters. Peugeot's 205 GTi tipped the scales at over 875 kilograms, with engines running from 1.6 to 1.9 liters. Volkswagen's Golf GTi, the segment's poster child, pushed past 900 kilograms and boasted a torquey 1.8 liter. These cars chased bigger numbers year after year, each generation gaining more weight in the pursuit of power and comfort. Suzuki, by contrast, charted a different course. Their engineers studied the competition and saw an opportunity, not to overpower the class, but to outmaneuver it. The plan was simple: keep the chassis featherlight, sharpen the responses, and let a small displacement engine sing to the redline. When the Cultus GT-i launched in Japan in 1986, it weighed in at just 820 kilograms, undercutting rivals by over 100 kilos. The Swift GTi carried this philosophy worldwide soon after, staying well below the 900-kilogram mark, even as safety and emissions rules tightened. Suzuki's approach wasn't about brute force. It was about momentum, agility, and extracting every ounce of speed from a compact package. Against a backdrop of ever larger engines and growing curb weights, the Swift GTi's lightweight doctrine stood out as a bold gamble, one that would shape every detail of its engineering. Suzuki's engineers started with a blank sheet and a clear goal: build an engine that could thrive at high RPM without sacrificing everyday reliability. The result was the G13B, a 1.3-liter four-cylinder with a dual overhead cam, 16-valve head, a layout rarely seen in such a small, affordable car in the mid-1980s. Its near-square geometry, with a 74mm bore and a 75.5mm stroke, struck a careful balance between rev-happy character and usable mid-range torque. The cylinder head was cast in lightweight aluminum alloy, helping keep mass down and heat transfer efficient. Inside, forged steel connecting rods and low-mass aluminum pistons reduced inertia, allowing the crank to spin freely and respond instantly to throttle input. The valvetrain used a direct-acting bucket and shim design, chosen for stability at high RPM and precise control of the 4 valves per cylinder. Multi-point fuel injection, rare for the segment at launch, ensured crisp fueling and allowed the engine to breathe cleanly all the way to its high redline. Every component was selected with one question in mind: will it help the engine rev faster, harder, and longer? The answer, from crankshaft to cam profile, was always yes. This was not just a small engine, it was a carefully honed tool, designed to deliver the kind of mechanical immediacy usually reserved for expensive sports cars or motorcycles. A car's soul is more than its engine. The Swift GTi's 3-door hatchback body was built around the idea of connection between driver, machine, and road. With a curb weight that rarely crept above 870 kilograms, every component was chosen to support the G13B's high-revving nature. The chassis delivered a near-neutral front-to-rear balance, helped by the compact engine sitting low and close to the firewall. This layout gave the steering a directness that felt telepathic, letting drivers place the car with precision on narrow back roads or tight city corners. The gearbox was a partner in this dance. Suzuki fitted a close-ratio 5-speed, each gear spaced to keep the engine alive and eager. Third and fourth gears, in particular, were calibrated so that a shift never pulled the engine out of its power band. At 70 miles per hour in fifth, the tachometer hovered around 3,500 RPM, right where a single downshift would launch the G13B into its higher registers. The short, notchy throw of the shifter encouraged quick, accurate inputs, rewarding those who could string together seamless upshifts and heel-toe downshifts. The 3-door shell, with its short wheelbase and wide track, made the GTi feel agile and responsive. Body flex was kept in check by reinforced sills and a stiffened floor pan, a nod to Suzuki's rally ambitions. The whole package felt taut and purposeful, ready to change direction at a moment's notice. Every mechanical decision, from the steering rack's ratio to the pedal placement, was tuned to let the engine's character shine through. This was a car designed not just to house a special engine, but to amplify its every pulse and vibration. Throttle open, the G13B hums along quietly below 3,500 RPM. Content almost unremarkable. Commuting or cruising, it's as docile as any small hatchback. But as the touch needle sweeps past 5,000, everything changes. The intake note sharpens, the exhaust hardens, and the engine's urgency floods the cabin. Power builds in a clean, unwavering surge, pulling harder with every 100 RPM. This is where the Swift GTi earns its legend, not with brute force, but with a sense of acceleration that feels alive and immediate. Third gear becomes a playground for the senses. Hold the throttle open and the engine climbs eagerly, the redline approaching with a rush that seems to shrink the world outside. Shift up at 7,200 RPM and the revs barely fall. Fourth gear lands you right back in the power band, ready to chase the next corner. Momentum is sacred here. Drop below that 5,000 RPM threshold and the car relaxes, but keep it on the boil and the Swift transforms. Precise timing matters. A perfect downshift before a hairpin, the engine barking at 6,000, lets you slingshot out with every ounce of energy. The gearbox, with its short, positive throws, rewards drivers who can keep the rhythm tight and the revs high. Every shift, every blip, becomes a lesson in flow. The GTi doesn't hand out speed for free. It demands attention, rewards bravery, and punishes hesitation. The payoff is a driving experience that feels more intense, more personal, the harder you push. In the hands of a skilled driver, the little Suzuki becomes a metronome of motion. Each gear change a beat, every corner a chance to keep the song going. From Tokyo to Vienna, the Swift GTi's rev-hungry formula proved itself on tracks and rally stages worldwide. Japanese domestic models, known as the G13K, pushed the boundaries with up to 115 PS and a screaming 8,500 RPM redline, giving local racers a factory-built weapon for grassroots competition. In Japan and across Europe, one-make Swift Cup Series filled grids with identical cars, where victory came down to driver skill and the ability to keep the engine singing in its upper range. These events highlighted the car's balance and reliability, with tightly matched races that often ended in photo finishes. Meanwhile, Suzuki's spirit of lightness and revs took on new meaning at Pikes Peak, where Monster Tajima's radical Swift-based specials chased records on the world's most daunting mountain course. Everywhere it competed, the Swift GTi earned a reputation as a giant killer, outpacing bigger rivals through sheer agility and relentless RPM. Timing belts are the lifeline of the G13B. Every 60,000 miles, replace it, no exceptions. This engine is interference by design. Neglect the belt and bent valves are almost guaranteed. When you're under the hood, swap the water pump too. Oil and filter changes every 5,000 to 7,500 miles. Keep the cams and bearings healthy. Use a quality synthetic, and don't let the coolant go more than 3 years without a flush. Overheating is the enemy. For those chasing a bit more, stick to mild boost. 5 to 7 PSY is safe territory with a proper intercooler and ECU tune. Any higher, and you're gambling with head gaskets and pistons. Keep the ignition system fresh, coils, wires, and distributor. If you treat the G13B like a miniature race engine, fed, cool, and in tune, it'll reward you with years of high-revving service. In 1986, Suzuki launched the Cultus GT-i, weighing under 900 kilograms and powered by the 1.3-liter G13B engine, a design that delivered up to 8,500 revolutions per minute in Japanese models. Archival sales records and homologation documents confirm its global reach, with over 100 horsepower in export models and a reputation for agility that outpaced heavier rivals like the Peugeot 205 GTi and VW Golf GTi. The G13B's near-square geometry, proven in teardown reports and owner logs, enabled a high-revving personality rarely matched in its class. Motorsport archives document success in Club Rally and one-make Swift Cup series, yet internal Suzuki engineering notes on final tuning choices remain unreleased. Today, enthusiast forums and track day footage show the Swift GTi continues to reward drivers who value momentum and precision. The evidence is clear. Suzuki's Swift GTi proved that lightness and revs could challenge bigger competitors, and its legacy endures wherever speed is earned through skill.